The year is coming to a close, so it's a perfect time to reflect. You saw from the thumbnail of this video that in 2023 I sold right around $50,000 in gross sales on eBay part-time as a side hustle. Those of you who have watched the channel for a while will notice that while $50,000 in gross sales for the year is great and nothing to be upset about, it is significantly less than I did the year prior. You may have seen that other video of mine where I talked about how I sold over $82,000 on eBay part-time in 2022. Later in the video we'll talk about exactly why this year was so much less than last year and what contributed to that drop in sales. But first, I want to talk through my best sales of 2023, the things that made me the most money. This was a really fun list to put together. I sell across all categories and had some really interesting, quirky, and profitable items go out the door. This is why I love reselling so much. You just never know what you're going to get. And this list of my top sales for 2023 is a great example of the wide variety of profitable things that can be bought to resell. I'll also talk through a few of my worst sales for the year because they can't all be winners. Let's dig in. All right, coming at number 10 on the list of my best sales of 2023 is this Vision Gator skateboard. So I bought this at an estate sale over the summer. It's a really excellent estate sale, one of the best ones I've been to. It was a private estate sale. But this is a vintage skateboard. Vision is a vintage brand. It was not in good shape, as you can see, but it sold for $214.98. That's $199.99 plus $14.99 in shipping, and it had an ROI of $1,597. I netted $159.70 for the 10th best flip of the entire year. This was a really cool find. This estate sale just had a ton of great stuff at it. I made so much money. They were only charging like $1 per item. It was a private estate sale. I have no idea why they were doing that. I bought so much stuff. They tried to charge me like $50 for everything, and I ended up giving them $100 for all of it. I have a separate video where I walk through that entire estate sale, so check it out. But yeah, this was a fun one. This was number 10 of the year. All right, coming at number 9 on the list is this Cracker Barrel cast iron hibachi pig grill thing. So this is a bizarre pickup. I've never seen this before. I bought it at a garage sale. I paid $10 for it. It took about 2 months to sell, so it wasn't a super fast sale, but this thing was heavy. It looks, you can't really tell the size from this picture. It was probably the size of like, I don't know, a large toaster maybe. It wasn't gigantic, but it was still very heavy. I ended up selling it for $233, if you can believe that. That's $218 plus $15 in shipping. I ended up netting $178.13 on the deal. It only cost $14.23 to ship, so it must not have gone too far. One of the rules that I have is kind of the heavy rule. If there's something, I think it's like from Jurassic Park, right? There's a scene from Jurassic Park where the kid picks up these goggles and the guy says, hey, if it's heavy, it means they're expensive. I find that to be very true, actually. And so items that are heavy, especially if they're small and heavy, usually catch my eye. And so this one caught my eye. It was small, it was heavy. It had no Cracker Barrel markings on it or anything like that. It was only later when I got it home that I realized it was a Cracker Barrel piece. But yeah, I made $178.13 net for the 9th best flip of the year. Coming in at number 8 here is this Apple Studio display from 1998. So it's a vintage Apple, not a computer. It's just a display, just a monitor. I bought this for $25 from a friend who's also a reseller. They were trying to clear out some of their extra death pile, and I took some stuff. I bought this for $25. Thanks, Dan. That was a good deal. I appreciate it. I ended up netting $184.29 for the 8th best flip of the entire year on it. You might think that these might be hard to like ship. It really wasn't too bad to ship. It cost $26.75, so not incredibly expensive. You just wrap it really well. And vintage electronics just do amazing, and so especially Apple. And so this was in working order. It was a really cool piece. Yeah, sold it for $264 for the 8th best flip of the year. All right, coming in at number 7 is this TI2 Cash Storage system thing. Honestly, like even today, after having bought it, sold it, researched it, sold it, I still am not exactly sure what it is. I got this at St. Vincent de Paul back in March, it looks like. I paid $2.25 for it. Again, it was that heavy rule, right? It was very small and it was heavy. It was sitting in the water bottle section, and it kind of looks like a water bottle. I could see why they would put it in the water bottle section, but it was definitely not a water bottle. It's some sort of like cache. Like I guess if you're hiking, you might put stuff inside of it that you don't want to get damaged or you don't want to get wet. They claim all sorts of uses for it if you check out the website. I'm still not exactly sure, what it's used for other than to store stuff in. Somebody wants to pay $225 to store stuff in, go for it. I'm happy to sell it to you. I ended up netting $186.74 for the 7th best flip of the year. Again, I have no idea. I just keep my eyes open, pick stuff up, feel it. This felt different, felt heavy. Had an interesting little marking on the bottom that said TI2. It's just, it stuck out, and I'm glad I picked it up because it was the 7th best flip of the year. All right, for the 6th best flip of the year, we have this antique hard candy drop roller, I guess is what it's called. But you kind of feed candy into this and it molds it into these little balls. I sold this thing for $330, if you can believe that. I bought it for $8 at an estate sale. It took 6 months to sell, so it wasn't, flying off the shelves by any means. I actually had this listed for $250, but the person that wanted to buy it wanted it overnighted. So I did a shipping calculation for the overnighting price, which was $80. I upped the price to $330. They bought it. I shipped it overnight. I still made $201.60 for the 6th best flip of the year. So again, this one follows that rule of being small and heavy. So much of the stuff that I sold this year for the highest profit has been small and heavy. So there you go. Look for small and heavy stuff. So number 5 is this HP graphing calculator. I also sold this one very recently, last week. Sold for $259. That's $250 plus $9.99 in shipping. I got this at a flea market. I paid $10. My net return was $207.21. Calculators are a great thing to look out for. Vast majority of them are worthless, but every once in a while you'll find a diamond in the rough. This was one of those diamonds. Really awesome sale. Happy to get it out the door. That was the 5th best flip of the year. All right, on to number 4 is this Canon PowerShot SX 620. So this was a camera that was in used condition, and this is, I think, one of the weirdest ones that I found all year. My wife actually found this. One of the weirdest ones, and the reason is, one, I didn't know that Canon or other manufacturers still made point-and-shoot cameras like this in the smartphone era. I guess it makes sense. People still want standalone cameras, but I figured those would be like bigger, SLRs or mirrorless cameras. But this was a really new. It had been manufactured less than a year before I got it, and it was at a thrift store. It was just, who donates that to a thrift store? It's very bizarre. They had it priced at $4. I can understand why, because so many of these like point and shoot cameras are just not worth a whole lot, and it doesn't look that much different than maybe a not as valuable point and shoot camera. In fact, when I got it, one of the reasons I bought it was because it had the charger, the wall charger with it. And I thought, well, for $4, I can at least sell that wall charger, even if the camera's not worth anything. Little did I know this thing was a very expensive camera. Brand new, it goes for like $500. I ended up selling it for $259.98. For the 4th best flip of the year is $220.65 for the net. It's just totally crazy. Look at that, 5,516% ROI. One of the weirdest finds. Who donates this stuff? I can't believe it. So really lucky to find that one at a thrift store. All right, on to number 3 is this really cool Talkboy from Home Alone 2. So you might remember Home Alone 1, there was a Talkboy that was gray. Home Alone 2, I guess, had another Talkboy that was blue and translucent. I found this one in a estate sale. It was in one of the everything's 25 cents buckets. I picked it up. I knew it was going to be worth something because I think the gray ones are worth like $60 or $70. So I thought I had a pretty good score, but turns out the blue ones are way more valuable. So this one sold for $259.98. That is an ROI of $89,232 on this guy. Fortunately, it worked too. It came with a tape. It worked beautifully. It's one of the rare times I used the video feature for eBay listings because I wanted to show that it worked. Just such a great find. 25 cents at an estate sale. I turned that into $223. Really cool. That was the 3rd best flip of the year. All right, coming in at number 2 are these pile caboose railroad sconces. So this is a really great find. I had no idea what these were when I was at a garage sale. They were marked as $10. There was 2 of them that were identical. I had a feeling that they were train related, and they were. They were small, they were heavy. So again, notice the trend, small and heavy. Keep your eye out for small and heavy stuff. But for $10, I ended up turning this into a net return of $242.64 for the 2nd best flip of the year. I guess this goes on the back of a real caboose. I don't even know, but a lot of collectors in this space, and yeah, it sold very quickly, $314.98 for the 2nd best flip of the year. Coming in at number 1 is this Time magazine of King Ibn Saud. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. You can tell me in the comments how you really pronounce it. This guy sold for $356.99. I had a stack of old Time magazines from the 1940s. I went through that stack just to see if there were any that were valuable, and it turns out this one was very valuable. It sold in 18 days. I had no money into it. A friend gave this to me. Thanks, Rolf. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this was my best sell of the entire year. Had the largest net, $284.51. Just a great sale. Super amazing to find this in a stack of Time magazines, and keep an eye out for it. If you get a stack of magazines, especially if they're cheap, just buy them and go through them and see if you can find any single pieces, single issues that work really well. I got really lucky on this one. So yeah, that was the best find of the year, best flip of the year, $284.51 on that net. But let's take a look at some of the worst sales of the year. So of course, like the things topping my list here of worst sales of the year are all stuff that got returned that I could not resell. And so a couple of these, actually the first three, are all stuff I got off of an Amazon return pallet. So I don't really do a whole lot of Amazon return pallets. To me, they're just way too risky. It's kind of like buying a giant mystery box. They're very fun to buy and to go through, but it can be very difficult to find profitable items on there. It's just a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to find on it. And so these were just things that were broken on there. I didn't know that they were broken. I thought that they were new, but they got returned. I can't resell them. If you look down the list though, you'll find stuff that didn't get returned. And there's a lot of stuff where I just made very little money on it. So here, like take this track and field Nintendo game here. I have $1 into it. I made a net of 9 cents. So, clearly it's really not worth shipping that out to anyone at 9 cents. But the reason I have a lot of these like low valued Nintendo games is because I buy like big lots of games. And so there might be a handful that are worth quite a bit of money. And then there are others that are not worth as much. And I figure if I have them, I might as well sell them. And so sometimes I hang on to them and I bulk them up with a console, or sometimes I group them together, or sometimes I sell them individually. Just, I guess it depends on the mood that I'm in. This is probably one I should not have sold individually. Making 9 cents on it, I'm sure it cost me more in time to just actually take the photos and pack it up and ship it off and all that. You got a 61-cent one here, $1.21 on a barcode scanner, more video games. Here's a vintage alarm clock for $1.39. Harry Potter I just sold 5 days ago for $1.40. So again, they're not all going to be home runs. There's a lot of them that I just make very little money on. It may also be fun to look through the things that sold the fastest for the year. And so there are a couple here, like this one here. My fastest sale of the year is this Philadelphia Eagles crew neck sweatshirt. So I got this at a garage sale. I think I paid $5 for it. And it sold in 15 minutes. And so it was a sweatshirt that had the arms cut off. And so I sort of priced it low because of that, but I guess it was still very desirable. Philadelphia Eagles this year are just a really good football team, and they have a very wild fan base. And so this just sold really quickly in 15 minutes. What else sold quickly here? Here's another one that sold in 20 minutes. This cassette recorder, brand new in the box, an Olympus brand. I bought this at a flea market for $5. It sold in 20 minutes for $159.98. I made $130 net on it for the second quickest sale of the year. And definitely look out for cassette recorders. Even if they're not new in the packaging, they usually go for pretty good money. I ended up selling them to law offices for a lot. I guess they still like to use physical media for their stuff. Yeah, I sold this boat here in about an hour. Another quick sale there. This Thrasher magazine hoodie sold in 2 hours. There's a baseball glove that sold in 3 hours. Quite a few things that are going out pretty quickly. A lot of things that just sell in a matter of hours. And that's always kind of a bittersweet feeling when you sell something very quickly after listing it. Because, hey, it's great to get a sale, but then you're like, did I price that right? Maybe I priced it too low. So why did I sell so much less in 2023 versus 2022? Is it because of the economy? Is eBay slowly dying? I'm sure there are factors like that which are completely out of my control, but the real reason is because I did not focus as much time and effort on eBay this year as I did in the past. In 2022, I listed a total of 2,071 items and sold 2,085 items, grossing $82,642 and netting $47,804. As of this recording, there is still about a week left in the year, but so far in 2023, I've only listed 1,367 items and sold 1,192, and my gross sales are right at $50,000, with my net sales sitting at $28,542. That's a pretty big difference. I listed over 700 more items last year than I did this year, so no wonder my sales are so much lower. As a reseller, this is the most important thing you must focus on: sourcing high quality inventory and listing as much as you possibly can. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, you'll probably also enjoy this other video of mine where I talk about how to list nearly anything on eBay in 4 minutes or less, along with a formula you can use to determine how many new listings you need to create each month to hit your revenue goals. Thanks for watching, and see you next year.